Okay, so I wanted to make a little video talking about my Duelist Cup run from the previous weekend. I wasn't initially going to make a video like this because I was pretty disappointed in my Duelist Cup run, but I've decided 1 week later just to go ahead and do it because I feel like I wanted to at least mention it just because I spent a lot of time streaming it. I streamed my entire Duelist Cup run, and this is where we ended up. It's a disappointing finish for me, 41,000. If we go onto the ranking page, you can see it's 202nd. It didn't make the top 100. I'm sure there are plenty of people thinking, listening to this thinking that's a pretty good score, and I should be happy with it. In the grand scheme of things, yes, it's, this goes up to 10,000, right? Like 13,000 points. There are people playing up to 10,000, like there are 10,000 plus people playing, so like I shouldn't be too disappointed in the grand scheme of things. But by my own standards, the goal that I was setting for myself, this is pretty bad. I was kind of hoping for a top 100 finish, and especially given the track record of the run, the way it was sort of forecast to be a pretty damn good finish. Somewhere about halfway through the final day, I had about 55,000 points, which was a new record of mine. I had previously reached about 55,000 like sometime last year, and I got about 500 more points this time, so I did reach a new peak just by a little bit, which I should celebrate as a success looking back on it, even though I was very disappointed because we fell quite far right at the end. If we look at the match history, we can see that I fell pretty quickly. This is the last 20 games and we lost almost all of the points in this last 20 games, right? If we count the losses here, this is sort of a tangent real quick, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 losses in the last 20 games, which, if you add 15 to 41,000, that gets you to about 56,000. And that was the peak that we were at. I know there was wins dispersed in there as well, but, there's 15,000 points worth of losses that we had right at the end, and that was extremely sad. It was live on stream, so I was kind of embarrassed about it, and I was sort of beating myself up for having such a bad run, but looking back on it, it wasn't a bad run at all, because if the only goal is to improve, not to, prove, if instead I'm just trying to improve myself instead of prove myself, it was actually quite a success, because, like I said, I technically got a new highest, which is a good metric for measuring whether or not you've improved. And I also think, based on just vibes and feelings, that I did pretty well. I think I knew my deck pretty well. Let me show you my deck. I won't go into too much detail about this because we're a week later at this point. The ban list has been announced. We know that, like, Dormouse is getting limited, so the exact specifics of this don't really matter. And I even changed the list quite a lot throughout the run, but this is basically the essence of what I ran. It's standard hand trap Malice. It's just pretty straightforward. Lancia was like a 1 or 2 of because I was more concerned with Ryziel than I was with Malice. Droll was one of the only hand traps that beat Ryziel, and we're just trying to go first and draw hand traps, right? That's basically the deck. It's very straightforward, so I won't really go into it. I also played a little bit of Branded, but for the most part, I played Malice. All of the Branded games were, I think, pre-20,000, maybe a little bit, but all of them were pre-30,000 for sure. So I think the majority of the run I have to credit to Malice. And I think I knew the deck pretty well. I think I practiced Malice more than I would have for previous Duelist Cups. I decided to really lock in this season, like I've mentioned a couple times before. I really want to lock in and, get some really good results. One day qualify for Worlds. So that's going to take a little bit more effort, a little bit more improving, and, hard work. So from that perspective, things were a success because I felt stronger and my peak technically proved that I had gotten further than I had before, even if it's just by a little bit. I think moving forward, in the next Duelist Cup, I would like to aim for 60,000 points. It's a new milestone, it's obviously a nice round number. And if we look at the points here, you can see that it's not actually very hard. It's not very easy to see here, but 100th being 53,000 means that 60,000 would have been much closer to top 10. It would have been, you know, very deep into the top 100, probably like maybe even like 20th, like top 20 kind of score. And that's sort of what I want to aim for. I want to aim for 60,000. I've never gotten to 60,000 before, and I think that would be a nice milestone to meet. 60,000 is never enough to win. Evidently, we need like 70,000+ to win. But it's the next step, right? I've never gotten top 10 before, so hopefully we can try to get a 60,000 score in the next one. It's not too much higher than what I've been capable of. Like I said, this score is the fault of like a fumble right at the end due to just bad luck, bad mental, and I think lack of sleep. But technically this could have been if we waited, you know, if we got to 55,000 or 56,000 and then just stopped. That could have been a very promising score that was very close to 60,000, so I don't think it's unreasonable to aim for that next time. Especially because I did not like this deck as well. I tested this deck twice. I did a test run. If you saw my streams, you'll know that I did this. I simulated a Duelist Cup on Rated. And I did that not just once, I made a video about it once, but I actually did it twice. I did it 2 weeks in a row before the Duelist Cup, so we basically played 3 Duelist Cups back to back, week to week to week. And I played Malice for all of them, pretty much. I remember guessing my points. If you haven't seen that video, I recommend going and having a look at it. I basically simulate a Duelist Cup, and the first time I did it, I got 50,000 points as an estimate, and the second time I did it, I got 43,000, I believe, as an estimate. So given that I actually ended, you know, 41,000 and even 55,000, both of those are like relatively the same ballpark as the points estimate, which gives me some faith about my own estimation system and makes me think that I should probably do those practice cup runs again, because number one, the practice cup the points guessing was like relatively accurate, and number two, I felt like I was powerful in this Duelist Cup. I actually felt like I knew Malice relatively well because I had put more into the preparation. But like I was about to say, this deck sucks. Malice absolutely sucks. Like, playing the format was awful. This was probably my least favorite format, gameplay-wise, to play of any Duelist Cup ever. And despite that fact, we managed to pull off our best result, or our best peak points, technically. So, and it's still one of the better results, technically. So given that, I think that in a more favorable format where it's more enjoyable to play and there's more skill involved, maybe it would be even better for me to try and aim for a higher score. So, but yeah, just in terms of my intention of like trying really hard this season and trying to qualify, trying to do really well, I think this was a good start. It's the first Duelist Cup of the season. There's going to be more. There's going to be a WCQ. There's a lot of times, a lot of formats. And this was a good start, looking back on it. Even though I was pretty upset with the final result, it was more to do with the fact that I was streaming and the fact that it all came crumbling right at the end. Overall, I was extremely happy the whole time with my performance, even though the format was miserable. But yeah, that should do it. Yeah, thanks for watching.